So today in this video, we will be creating this countdown timer where I have set 60 seconds, which I will use for the decrement. And when we click on this start, then it start decrementing. And when we click on this stop, then it will immediately stop. And when we click on this reset, then it will again reset to 60 seconds. So let's create it. So one thing which we will focus on this is we will use UseRef and UseEffect in this project. And I will teach you how to use those things and what are the functionality of those hooks, UseEffect and UseRefs. So let's write app.css and we will write the function, and the name of the function will be app. So I always recommend to write all the code by your own, because when you will give the interview, then you will not get a chance to use VS Code. It's very rare that you will get a chance to use VS Code. They will provide you some online code editor, and there you will not get these recommendations. So try to write all of these codes by your own. Return, inside return we will pass one div, and we will export it, export default app. So now we will go in the source file, and here we will create one folder named components, and inside components we will create one countdown .jsx, and inside this we will create the function which is const countdown we will write an arrow function here, and inside this arrow function we will have return statement, and inside this return statement we will have one div, and we will export it. We'll write export default countdown. So let's import it here in the app.jsx file. So import countdown from /components /countdown. Now here we will write countdown. So we have got this component here inside this app.jsx. So now let me confirm that we are getting that there or not. So let me write count here, and let's go to our development server. So as we can see, the count is visible here. So it is connected, our component is connected. Now what we will do, we will write one heading, and inside the heading we will give countdown timer. And it will be 60 seconds. And after this heading we will have three buttons. The first button will be start button, which will start the countdown. The second button will be stop, which will stop the countdown, and the third button will be reset, which will reset the value. So in all of these buttons we will give one on click function. So we will not give one on click function, we will give three different on click functions. So for the first we will write start timer. For the second one we will write stop timer, and for the third one we will write reset timer. Now what we will do, we will define these functions here. But before that, what I want to do, I want to show this 60 seconds dynamically, so that I can use that to change the countdown. So for that, what we need to do, we have to import use state here. So import use state from React. So let's define the state here. So we will write const, we will name the state seconds, and we will give the setter function as set seconds, and it will be is equal to use state, and initially we will give the use state value of 60. So what we have to do, we have to pass this seconds here so that it can show the value of this state. So let's write seconds. So we have not set this, we have not defined this function, so it is showing errors. So let's define the functions first. So we will write const, the first function is start timer, and we will write one arrow function here. We will not define the function now, we will only write it so that we can see the value here. Const stop timer. Here also we will give arrow function. And another we will write const reset timer. And here also we will give one arrow function. Now let's go to our development server. Let's see what error it is giving. So it is saying stop timer is not defined. There might be some mistake in the spelling. So here I have written small t, I have to make it capital T. Now you can see it is visible here. The whole thing is visible here, all these three buttons and this thing also. So let's write these functionalities for these buttons, start, stop and reset. So for the start button, we will give one set interval. We will write one set interval here. But before writing set interval, we have to save the ID somewhere. So set interval, let's set interval, and inside the set interval, we will give one function, and here we will give the interval, and we will give 1000 milliseconds, that is 1 second. And inside this, we will write set seconds, and what we are going to say, we will write the previous seconds is equal to, we will write this function here, the previous second, and previous seconds minus 1. So what does this set interval returns? It returns one interval ID. So we have to save that interval ID somewhere so that we can use that further later on when we use to stop the timer. So when we will stop the timer, then we will need that interval ID. So if I give a variable here, any variable here, and I can write that like a is equal to a minus 1, like that, or I can write that set seconds is equal to seconds minus 1. But if I write like that, then when this thing will be re-rendered, then we will not get the actual interval ID here. So to save that actual interval ID, we will use UseRef. So we will write interval reference is equal to UseRef, and inside this we will pass a value of null, and we will give it as a constant. So constant interval reference is equal to UseRef. So we will save that interval, this set interval will return one interval ID. So we will save that interval ID inside this interval reference. So let's write interval reference. We will write interval reference dot, let me write the reference correctly, reference dot current, so that we get the current interval ID of this set interval function. So we have saved that current interval ID inside this user. So whenever this whole thing, whenever this state will change, like this second, this use state will change, then this whole thing will be re-rendered, and the values will also get re-rendered. But this user will save the current value. It will always save the current value inside it, and it will not get re-rendered. So this is the use of the UseRef here. And another use is we can use DOM manipulation inside this React. We can say that using UseRef, but we will use UseRef as this thing only here. DOM manipulation will be we will teach that thing in another video or in some other project. So inside this interval, we have passed this thing, and we have defined this start timer. So let's go to our development server and let's see it's working or not. So one problem is there that I have not import this UseRef here. UseRef. I have to let me import the UseEffect also so that I don't forget it later on. I will explain the UseEffect thing. So now when we click on this start, then you can see the timer is working. So another thing what we need whenever we click on this stop, then this timer should stop. So for that, what we need to do, we have to define this stop timer. So to define this stop timer, we will simply do one thing. We will write clear interval. Right? We have the clear interval, so we can clear it also. So we will write clear interval, and inside this, what we will do, we will pass this interval reference current value, because we need the interval ID to stop this. So we have saved this interval ID inside this UseRef thing. So we will pass that, the interval reference dot current. So what it will do, it will, let me write it correctly. So what it will do, it will clear the interval. So let's go to our development server and let's check it's working or not. Let me refresh it. Let's start and let's click on stop. So you can see it has stopped. Now we want to add this functionality, reset. So let's go to our code here and let's write functionality for reset. So for reset, what we want whenever we click on the reset, then this interval should be stopped, like interval should be cleared. So we will pass one clear interval, and inside this we will pass the same interval reference interval reference dot current. And another thing, what we are trying to do is whenever we click on this reset timer, like let's go to the server, you can see, let me start it. So it has started, and when we click on stop, see it has stopped at 55 seconds. But I want that whenever I click on this reset button, then it should stop and it should reset the value to 60 seconds again. So for that, what we need to do, we have to simply write set seconds. Set seconds is equal to 60. So now you can see it's starting. Here click on this start, it has started. Here click on stop, it is stopped, and when we click on reset, then it is reset to 60. A few seconds ago, you might have seen that this value has went negative. So we don't need that. We only need that the timer should stop at 60 seconds. Whenever the 60 seconds has, whenever it goes to 0 seconds, then this timer should stop and it should give some message or some alert box. So for that, we will use UseEffect here. So what we will do, we will write UseEffect, and inside this UseEffect, we will pass one arrow function, and inside this arrow function, we will write if seconds value and data type is equal to 60, sorry, equal to 0. If it is 0, then we need to do something. So what we will do, we will alert. What we will alert? We will alert time is up. But even if we alert this, then also the value will continuously decreasing. So for that, we have to clear this interval also. So clear interval, and inside this we will write interval reference dot current, and we have to give one dependency here, and the dependency will be seconds. So let's go to our development server here, and we click on start. You can see it is starting. Then we click on stop, it is stopped. When we reset, it is set. So we will not wait for 60 seconds. Let's decrease this thing. Let's decrease it to 6 seconds, and let's see our functionality for this UseEffect. So start timer 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, it is showing this 1 second. We have to work on this. Okay, when we click on this OK button, then it goes to 0 seconds. It is setting that thing 1 second later. Not a problem. So when we click on reset, it has reset to 60 seconds. When we click on the start, it is starting. When we click on stop, when we click on reset. So let's make it 60 seconds again. So now this is what I was trying to teach you. It is a very simple project, and here we get to learn some of the things. The most important things are these two hooks. The first one is UseRef hook, and the second one is UseEffect hook.